Welcome to Words First. My name is Mr. G.
My name is Deanna Rodger, and we are your hosts from Apples and Snakes.
And we have been working in conjunction with BBC Radio 1 Extra, BBC Asian Network, and BBC Contain Strong Language. We've been at it again, searching high and low for the poets of the future.
Working with regional poetry organisations called Young Identity and Reekie to scour up and down the nation to see who will be the 6 spoken word superstars for the next year, and actually probably forever.
Forever and ever and ever and ever, because we've been doing this stuff online. Usually we'd be doing it in a live environment, but we are now trying to find out how we can operate in this COVID-19 and bring it to your little small screens.
Indeed, and the possibilities are endless, and you're about to see that in some of the videos that we have got in store for you. These poets have been working for 4 weeks with me, delivering masterclasses, and with a poet called Kammerling who showed them some tips and tricks on performing on screen. So they've been working their butts off to bring their bestest to you. And
working their butts off, indeed. That's what they've been doing. They've been taking it out in the park. They've been taking it in the backs of cars. They've been taking it all over the place, just trying to do all sorts of things. So, Deanna Rodger, who is the first poet that's going to be blazing our screens right now?
So the first poet that you are about to see is a young man called Emmanuel.
Wow.
But make it black. Because maybe a black box could outline the details of my mental plane crash. You know when you have goals, but it's plain to see that those wings have holes. See, my mind is the aircraft that carried my cargo of dreams, and there was many, but I took off and realized halfway that my fuel tank was half empty. You're not deep in the gravity. I'm not deep in the gravity. And as I plummet to earth, I hope I get some clarity, and amidst the rubble of lost hope and things unclear, my black box of a mind can reveal secrets of how I ended up here. I feel to be a box. But yeah, make it black. And dash it in the driver's seat to help keep me on track. See, black boxes are designed to keep you safe on the road and impose limits of where you can and can't go. And I didn't know how much I could need that. As I navigate my spaces, thinking about my doubts to my health, a black box would remind me to always pace myself. But maybe I am a box. And yes, make it black. Because that seems to be the best way to define how sometimes I feel trapped. Because what's the point in having a vision if half the time your skin feels like a prison? I mean, racial profiling has a black boxed up. Police brutality has a black boxed up. I mean, it's not fair. It's just square. And there's no way I can hide it. And yet when you talk about boxes, you say I'm meant to think outside it. Yeah. A box is the best way to define my confinement. And even now, despite how open-minded you can claim to be, your perception of me is still based between this four-cornered screen. So where does your belief reside? And when it comes to this black box, are you willing to look inside?
Doing things remotely brings many different aspects to performing. What I like about this guy is that like he's sitting in the back of his motor with his seatbelt on like he's just about to go to school. So teaching us new lessons about the Noughties, it's Joelle.
Educated by the Noughties. Take 4. Her faculty took the shackles off my feet so I could dance. It's fitting then that those lessons welcomed in the new millennium. Remnants of distant fireworks still sparked in our ears as we began our school commutes. This was the Noughties. This was smooth R&B. While sleep was still sitting in our eyes, our tutor ushered us into back seats with the cursing of clocks under serial breath. Our school bell, the fatigued jangle of worn keys. Here, lessons started at 8:30, not 9. They began when you put the fucking mic on, because what is love if not singing in a car? We were as close as tires on tarmac. And in our mobile science lab, we demonstrated that love was nothing more than a bell curve. Observe the rise and fall of love and loss to prove the absolute that everything means nothing if I ain't got you. Lessons started at 8:30, not 9. When we took shorthand notes on our defiant form tutor. From her fractured curriculum, I learned the only person I should apologise to was Miss Jackson, because we had tried 1,000,000,000 times, only to continue to be sold an album on which, somehow, she remained the antagonist. Those weren't the songs we were listening to, but no matter how many tracks we held in our CD wallet, the alleged assailant was always 5'1". Lessons started at 8:30, not 9. When we sat in the stalls with eager anticipation that this morning's concert would douse our spongy brains, it was here, in this metal classroom contorted by warm breath that carried our pitchy intonation, I learnt to count by tallying 50 cents, 21 questions on my fingers. On my palms, I learnt to bear pride, which made sense because all her pride was all she had. I volunteered to hold the soul this music revealed, breathe life into it like bare hands on a late autumn night. It was a responsibility awarded for studying lyrics and linguistics. Those melodies were certificates. Lessons started at 8:30, not 9. To the cautious drama, finger-tapping steering wheel, orchestrating our finale. We would cheer as she pointed skywards, "This is my song." We would bob our heads and wave our hands and kick our feet. Not old enough to ask why Mummy's favourite song pleaded for no more pain, no more drama. Maybe we were too busy swimming in the pools of deep violins or playing hopscotch on broken keys, knowing we couldn't fit them in our book bags when we unbuckled and ran to the gate. We were ready for the day then, because lessons had started at 8:30, not 9. By then, we had already learnt to dance to the jagged rhythm of life. We had run cross-country up the peak of painful crescendos to discover at its summit how harmony lends itself to pain. Already figured out why the radio helped her to smile again, even if we didn't know it yet.
Now it's time for a poem from Abena.
Oil. Thick soup greets me from upstairs. Abena, Mumbrambe Didi. Another black trans woman killed. Wash out my blood-stained eyes, swap for Mama's words. Mama says crying won't shape tomorrow. You can cook? Good, you're a vessel. Whoops, woman. Am I a woman? No time to question. Dad's home. We talk black lives. How this country will never really see us. How diaspora should all flood home to Ghana, but Mama says, Mama says, gays are bad. Ugh, that woman turned man. All of this laced into I love you. Learn to scratch out white noise. Find a you. You. And here, where I am your head brimming with scarlet box braids. The first time I mumble queer between mouthfuls of Byron's burger, I am the gap between your grin. The moment you wrap your black skin round my back ever since. Here, I am our game of snap, where we both scream, I'm queer too. Run round the table with liquid and laughter exploding onto our coloured cheeks. We block out tree, Bengali, fathers who devour penal codes. They don't know what we know, that our people were fluid before the whitewash prayed the gay away. Here, I am our FaceTime calls, your bisexual Bob. Skirting rooms, dodging footsteps so I can button up Dad's shirt as you toss my gender up into the ether, unearthing all my possibilities. Here, I am your long-limbed shimmy towards me. Shock to find another Negro in rainbow stripes, our fingers encased by the end of the night as we cha-cha slide with Allah and Jesus in nightclubs that fly our flags. This country that murders yet gives us all the love we long to receive.
And now it's time for something special. Watch the lips form the words that need to be heard, bringing the badum badum badum. It's Shimani.
I stopped, took a sip and gulped, holding myself as I breathed intently, but enough so you could hear me. Can you hear me? Do you hear the seconds between each take, each inhale and exhale that I make? Are you breathing too? Or are you following my eyes? Do you see that I am looking? Can you hear that my heart is racing, pounding against my chest? Budum, budum, budum. Can you read my mind? Do you know what I just thought? Maybe I shouldn't say. Or maybe a little taste wouldn't hurt. So I imagined you standing there in the mist, standing tall, standing strong, bulging every muscle in your bones until they are no longer gone. Damn, you look strong. Can you see? You looked at me, raised your hand and cupped my face, peering into my map, following the roots of my eyes. You started that race, moving from one route to another, from my eyes down to my mouth. Did you ask? No. Without asking, you pressed your lips hard enough that no air came between, parted the ways to open the gates to the Sahara Desert that now rained and was a dampened street. Splashing around as you sank into the wetness that trickled heaps. Feeling good? Then changing gears, another intervened down my chest, trading your way around to find the rest. Still nerves and still stiff. I unblocked the roadblocks just to let you in, allow you to trot around my roadmap as if it were yours, slowly relaxing and reciprocating your action. I followed your motion, sinking deep into your ocean. I gave into that guilty pleasure that throbbed from within, kidding off the bittersweet as you trickled your hand across my skin. But if I start again, so. I opened my eyes and stopped, took a sip and gulped, looked down at myself as I laid there alone, a ravished woman. Watched my hand trace my skin, running sweat tracks across my thighs, making pretty little pictures. My chest tightened and my heart banged as my body roared as I ran to finish the race, just as I began.
And here's Tori with his poem.
A tiger with no fur in its tail is a circumcised cat, shedding the outer body, dead weight, offering to blue flies. I'm hoping they get caught in the skins, burn them like baccy in token cigarettes, hanging on the end of dreams, bent out like my peeling feet. I soaked them in salt water last night. They had that ryesh smell, similar to goat wool an hour before it's good to eat. The blue flies hover over my father. They all come from hell, said the neck-snap pigeon. So I kissed the church in Spain. Maybe that Catholic blood in me will burp out emerald for protection. I remember once Mother said we were once a part of 2 Emerald Isles, and we have 2 types of ancestors. Red and green seeps out of all my stitching, it seems. Sticky toffee if you lick it with a dash of iron. I'm a paddy boy, born on the 18th of first spring, a day after his feasting. Blue flies were there for my carcass labour, eating the scraps of my future. Burying eggs into that allergen flying fish, tonguing peanut butter for me, chewing on plantain before my teeth grew in and inhaling a rum smell. They told me I'll only be a piece of menstruation and barely Irish. That's what my dreams hunt for memories. Dogs barking for the blood I want. But I don't know how long I can wait for my bucket to fill. If blood is thicker, then it's gonna strain. So I pour it all into my dreams tide, offering for the blue flies. Leave my tail exposed to the clay drying around it. Says here, I can still truffle like any tiger.
taking us on a different journey, retracing the footsteps from the universe of emotion. Let's take a poetical walk with Zara.
I want to be loud as I feel, and I feel vast, and I feel smaller than an ant's throat. This is all in the same breathing. It's funny how these two coexist, always at the same time. It's like a balancing act, a live wire that flutters in my chest. Then there's guilt, a sack of it that floats, kisses every part, and thoughts appear like an old friend. You'll never be good enough, why are you still trying? There's just all these landscapes crashing into each other, and whatever else is there gets lost. The direction is pulled out of it. A music box like a ribcage, its lungs empty of notes, a still comb unable to untangle itself. You see, in a desert, sand moves, like a wave in slow motion. I move in the same way, the face of a cliff edge blinking, opening its eyes, and seeing everyone is distant and far ahead of me. All I see is footprints I can only dream of catching up to. I always feel like I'm caught in between. I'm never fully present. A door stuck in water, a hinge, a tongue full of rust. I can never speak properly. I am always lost in translation, in naming and putting what I feel in a sentence, in being understood. I am not good at emotion. I am not good at hope. We all have a hammer in our ears that lets sound in. I think mine is knocking on the wrong wall, hanging up the wrong picture. So I try the pieces I have. I try joy, a term I wish to bathe in. I need it to be the core of me. That every single bit of living I do is based on this. That the center will always be calm like the eye of a storm. Because that's what I want to be, an ant devouring a hurricane, an ant's voice stretching, existing after the storm.
This next poem is from a poet called Tom.
It's a cold night in Croatia. A man's lost in the dark, but his bare feet know the way, and they take him to the quiet corner of a silent bay to listen to the water. At first, the water tells him nothing. The man stares into the darkness at the centre of it all. The tide announces itself, and it's lilac when it breaks. This could be the far edge of the universe. This could be the place it gets a lot worse. The man listens to the water. The water tells him nothing, but that he's alone. The man stares up at the stars. It's like looking at chickens in an abattoir, all crammed in together, loud, afraid and sad, a little clucking premonition of something bad, because stars die all the time. He blinks, puts his feet in. And that's when the water speaks, softly, softly through the soles of his feet, in a voice so pure, so sweet, kind as victory, cold as defeat. Rushing up, the water speaks. It takes 10,000 years to make a rock a pebble. What in your life is more powerful than the oceans and this moon to wear you down into this? Jittery tadpoles are now calmly feeding off his feet. His eyes are dry and acrid as a trash fire, a burning tire that marks the earth and stains the air. The man reaches down gently so as not to disturb the tadpole fish and cups his palm like this and christens himself with the night's water. A silver palm flows down from his face and elongated fingers flip back to that dancing surface. The next day, he drags his friends there, but they're like, what It's just a shitty bay. They can't hear the water. And Lucy's hay fever starts up again, so they're off. But the man stops to thank the sea for calling him and to thank it for letting him go. On the beach, there are pebbles, their edges knocked off not by water but by other pebbles, yet they are not destroyed but transformed. The man hears laughter and follows after them, thinking, no, maybe it was not a good idea to try LSD 4 days after your sister's suicide attempt, but you've done it now.
I want you to picture me sitting down now, with my pen in hand, visually written down now as I expand. I've got a poem about poems, as I see them and know them. I can turn mental acorns to oaks, I simplistically grow them. From initial ideas that I've wrote, not exquisitely woven, but in naked form without coats, and I artistically clothe them. With my own perception and interjection and what I've seen from recollection, such selection and introspection defines poetry. You see, we take in ideas from all around, sometimes from deep within inside, and we expose it and compose it and relay it with pride. For we lose a piece of ourselves as our pens start to write, scribbling ideas down the years in the dead of the night when we've awoken, almost choking, like our hearts will be broken if an idea that's so potent disappears unwritten or unspoken. By the same token, it's such precious drops from this ocean of emotion that keep the creative fire stoking and ignite poetry. Bring in the flames, the heat, the passion, the history. There's always another side of a story that needs to be told, and Azan is here to tell it.
As the droplets caress my cheeks, soothing the skin, I pray the pellets cleanse my pores, penetrate my thoughts, and wash me into a canvas, to be void of noise. But I got a suitcase face, baggage borrowed into my bones. What shall I declare today? See, I dream of a haldi haze dashed across a violet sky, of pounded onions swimming in garlic and chili powder, aroma so welcoming no creed, religion or race could escape its embrace. Oh, I dream of duets between minarets and mandirs, of the waxed moon, the crescent's bliss. I reminisce on this silk road to serenity. But that's only one part. For we are mirrors cracked through the grass, partitions shattered, scattered, scrambling pieces of our past. Take what you have, run for your life, no looking back and never think twice. Kul huwallah, you pray that ish thrice, cause goreke anke, daggers of ice, watching our people scurry like. Chaos, disorder, makeshift borders. Doctor, this is not what I ordered. Doctor, lost a leg and a daughter, suffering from generational trauma. We were brown skin crowned in rubies fit for thieves. The architect of our anarchy? Lord Mountbatten. Lord, mount my lips with the glorious pattern to smash all these prejudiced fashions. Let them know we are more than the slurs of which your lips will not let go. From prophetic poets precariously pondering on politics, to passionate belvans packing on the pounds to smack man and spit barn. From Bantu Punjabi to plush Pashto, our tongues contain more flavours than your problematic portrayals of our people. So many others from the motherland. Yet you smother us into one box. Equality action plan. Maybe my luggage isn't a burden to bear, but a story to be shared.
Next up, we have Tamina.
The melanin in my skin wisps you across the waters to the depth of Shunamgunj where earthly spices are rich. The rush of organised chaos, tooting of horns and yelling of insistent grocery traders, one after the other like synchronised swimmers. The air, thick and shadowy like the uneven patches around my mouth, and the smells of burning kindling and tinder, the heat. Sun kissing your skin as you cradle in its warmth, watching the sun set behind the farmers in their wheat fields. It casts a haze of red over the acres of swamp water and dried crops until it reaches the melanin in my skin and covers me from head to toe. Glide west along the jet stream, from one home in the northeast to another. The bursting banks of Shurma to the River Tyne, magpies in the sky wearing black and white stripes. The locals here speak Geordie in its truest form. It is the Queen's English. I speak it better than my mother tongue, but some will still claim it's a foreign dialect. And you are a guest in our city, so a tour is obligatory. So a trip down the Toon and a fresh Greg's pasty. And when the sun's out, legs and breasts are out to turn red. But can you blame them? Summer lasts only 3 minutes here. And match days are the best days, when from miles away you can hear them chanting, "Away the lads!" And it echoes right through our city. Echoing and echoing into the TARDIS that is my mind. Night and day orbit the pen nib, where realities unravel to clarity onto my paper. An everlasting maze intertwined with question marks and contradictions, fossils of childhood memories and conversations, the melting pot. The spark that creates fire, the fire that destroys, a dot that expands into infinity, then comes crashing down to devise a magnum opus. And when the dust settles, you find yourself stood behind my camera obscura. Your iris aligned with its viewfinder. Does everything seem clearer now that you've seen the world from beyond the skin of this brown face? Every hike, flight, climb, and every voyage, every masala chai and steak pie, kalhona ho and movies by Guy, shawakami sometimes, but mostly Air Max and track pants. Curries in the kitchen, Jamie Oliver on telly, hijab on my head, sneakers on my feet, bhangra in the car, and poetry on stage. You see, the melanin in my skin is one shade in the spectrum of the universe within me.
Everybody needs a little redemption in their lives, so won't you care to sing these poems of freedom? So taking us beyond the Argos catalogue, it's Gabriel with a poem called Redeem Yourself.
Redeem yourself. Take yourself to the Argos counter and say, "This one is broken." They will say, "What is the problem?" You will say, "How much time do you have?" They will say, "Have you got a receipt?" You will start talking about your mother. They will stare politely, thinking longingly about a fag break, or whether you can buy Leon's Korean spicy mayo in the supermarket yet. You will drift off too. You will think, hang on, this is the problem. If we weren't so obsessed with junk or longing for a future, by now you would be stood on 3 catalogues, wielding one of their little blue pens, slashing at the atmosphere, the attached string taut across your chest. You will register the fear in their eyes, and try turning your B-movie preacher impression into a comedy dance, singing lullabies to the plastic countertops, running your hands over laminated linen and lawnmowers. Finally, cornering the cheap skateboards, you will unload. I'm just trying to return myself. You know, I haven't got a box, I haven't got a receipt. I think I want a new version. You'll be asked to leave the shop. You will say, yeah, I was going anyway. Jiving your head from side to side to show you're not bothered. 2 stepping outside, sun in your face, You will get lost in dance, tearing the stolen Argos catalogue in half with your bare hands. And it will not matter that the fluttering pages are not parrots or canaries. They are in the air anyway.
Hold tight for this poet who goes by the name of Chanel.
We are at war with our shadow on the pavement. Our body's permanent, but my mind foggy. Street lamps smile, yet some haven't beamed for miles. We ride a bicycle uphill on a humid night to a worn-out caravan, empty and hidden. Fresh washing mixed with cat piss and chicken, a foodless fridge, our tummy screams, we're dizzy. The foghorn blares. Stay fit, dress well, be kind, talk less, don't express a problem or you'll be one. Power, my tutors, my lecturers, everyone I aspire to be, my mentors that proofread me. I can't show you, but sometimes I disagree. Society, your expectation is beginning to flood my rut. We are drowning in the need to please. The grenade hits the ship bouncing back from the breeze. Underwater in my submarine, not seen. Mixed race, mixed taste, mistake? At school, I never fit in with miss. Last on the list, cease to exist. You'd think being odd gets you noticed. It truly leaves you left out. Too brown to be gay, too gay to be brown. My communities frown on my choices. The hair I wear, the people I kiss, the opinions I voice. Daily, I walk the plank. It's creaky, a boarded floor. I'm in and welcomed by a broken door that slams behind me. In front of you, I surrender. You have sculpted and moulded what you see. I've run into your arms, dripping with the guilt of who I've tried to be. I've played the part to be one of you, never you to be one of me. 24 years on the sea, and I finally see that we have been indoctrinated. The media created blizzards that threw us overboard. This created kill or be killed, the rich against the poor. Black versus white, gay versus straight. The waters that led us laced with hate. The ship has collided. Like many, we are now awake. We have bloomed in a charcoal sky, lashing rain with no one by your side. We are becoming our shadows on the pavement. Seen, but not questioned. Loud, dark, ready to learn lessons. Unfiltered, raw, and accepted.
We all have baby dreams. Late nights, early mornings, crack of dawning, now I'm yawning. So here's Beth with a poem that's exploring her indecision.
When I was 23, babies were aliens to me. I feared their hostile scrunch, their screaming policy and sleep atrocities. But then, at 24, the jealous, deadly horde of hormones I remember from my teens developed soft new eyes in me, and babies have occupied my dreams. Every month, at period time, I hold my lover's palm to my stomach. The weight of him placed on the ache of my cramps, I can patiently siphon the pain from my backslide. But lately, doing this brings thoughts of alien fists. His touchdown on my belly's moon ignites an ET ode to home, and we are barely a phone call from parenthood. Invaded by babies, a daydream too soon. We clench at the pressure, cradle our youth, and every month I shed my womb. At times we glimpse the fizz of her and blow her away like a fuse. We tie her unpopped balloon to the spacecraft and count down from 10. When certain people sense my age and deem it okay to ask when I plan to wind my clock, you don't have forever, you know. When I laugh, like an empty purse, at their fable of family, tell them nuclear's expensive and I'm a poet. Every dream they ever sacrificed for happiness reminds their faces of fear. Their buried hopes explode at me from fission eyes, confusion strikes. As kids they learn that hope like mine meant gambling the concrete of a token life. But the future isn't fixed these days. So I roll out all the dreams I haven't gone full term with, all the legacies to birth. I imagine, with horror, my belly full of alien, and name this yearning a nightmare, escapable. And then I think of my mum. Our bond accords so musical, the sound is a new colour to describe. I think of her birthing my hopes into being, coaxing her poem to write. Imagine we never were, never forged, our spark to molten mud. At this, I feel sick with decision all over again, like a morning, as yet, unbroken.
Buckle in, it's time for Lauren.
I'm an orange juice stain on crisp white linen sheets, spillage from the squealing cherubs who serve breakfast in bed on Mother's Day. I'm the warm caress of the special place in my imagination reserved for the love of my future children. This might seem like a simple fantasy for some, achieved with ease, like finding yourself tangled in a soft summer breeze, no stretch of the imagination. But for me, it is a transplendent reclamation of human strength and the extent to which love can triumph. For the things my parents told me were as empty and vacuous as our attachment. My childhood home smelt of nothing. Now home smells of the places I've travelled, roots laid, loyal friends and lessons gained from other people's mothers who chose to parent me. The people who saved my proverbial bacon, so that now I am sizzling strong. I'm recovery, that's my coming of age story. I'm not a straight line or a matter of time, I'm hell and I'm sublime. I turn to the divine, there is something bigger than me, driving me, holding my hand, when it feels like I'm free falling through quicksand, as evil has found no reprimand and I am scared. When my suffering finds no reprieve, bringing me to my knees, screaming out to no one, please. Where do I find forgiveness and redemption? They are located in the independence of a young adult reclaiming home. I break the cycle. I am gassed when I step back and look at what I have achieved, processing my pain so that unconditional love will rain down on my children's hearts and brains. I maintain the twinkle in my eye that my great aunt admired. She will never know what has transpired, what I carry in my faint smile of bemusement. I want more for future generations than the heresy of the word good, a concept that is achingly misunderstood. Good is a promise made to mischievous children that never materialises. We pit binary concepts of good against evil like they're black and white, punishing black and rewarding white. Yet who decided that fighting for one's freedom is evil, and that there's any inherent good in maintaining a status quo that only benefits certain people? Nah, it is good people who commit heinous acts against women and children. It is good intentions that obscure the real action needed to give young black men their freedom. I dream of something bigger, where a fluid approach to understanding life is embraced, so uncomfortable truths about oppressive systems are faced and victim blaming erased. A world where good finds its place in the context of justice for people of every race, where my gender identity leaves no trace of incredulity on your face. If the seeds of this reality are sown, our promises will be fulfilled when our children are grown. Only then does good come into its own and finally exist as it's meant to be known.
And now we got something special. It's like a walk in the park, but he's talking the hardest. Let's check out John Bernard.
One day we'll look back and wonder if we made each moment count. The opportunities that arose from the concrete ground we grabbed and held, like the pound mum gave us for the chippy. We were told that our social class would prevent us from making history, but we made it just on time for graduation day. We learned early that their expectations couldn't take our hard work away. More than reaching for perfect grades, we aimed for the moon and prayed that our uniforms would never be consumed by stab wounds that'll take our breaths away. Hoping the maze known as the estate will not lead us astray. If Venus and Serena can escape to the realm of the greats, then that gave us hope. Moonwalking on Trey Forest Road, speaking our futures into existence, I'm so glad we spoke. Why should we let them silence our souls when it's written in the finest of gold? Yes, hindsight can't minus our faults, so we've been aligned with our dreams since knee-high, playing pirates and boats, using school jumpers for goal posts. I mean, if you know, then you know. We couldn't wage war over postcodes. Our city was too small for this. Plus sis said, do not align with what your soul's against. Every thought has a consequence. Better to be patient and powerful. Haste makes mistakes. Only do stuff that you won't regret. My city told me to say it with my chest and raise up my brows. You can't purchase respect. You either earn it as a crown or you sit back down. That's reality. Searching for clarity, but some found insanity not loud. I wanted my mind clear so I could see the way out and lead a whole generation to manifest what they've been dreaming about. So I dress in my truth, a fabric that can't be fabricated, because when I go there'll be no replacements. Death doesn't care if I'm illiterate or educated, Marvin Gaye or the singer that never made it. So this is my 2 minutes 46 seconds. I'm grateful you got to hear me. Inequality of Mr. Floyd wheezing for 8 minutes 46 seconds. It's no surprise we're almost 4 times more likely to face the same bereavement. Growing up, I watched my oldest hold arms, and it wasn't for congenial reasons. To escape the system, I had to go, and my gift aided like a charitable agreement. I do this for the orphans, the forgotten, the ones that never believed in, living in areas of mass policing, told they'll never amount to anything, nonsensical math intuition. But he who started a good work will bring it to fruition. Hoping the ladder of my vision is not leaning against the wrong wall and I'm not climbing to perdition. I cannot afford to fail. I've counted the cost, it was priceless. You cannot put a price on living. If I don't give it all to this dream, then I'm just existing. This coruscating light of mine, I'm going to continue to let it shine like Lewis Howard Latimer, holding the lantern up for the forgotten, the orphan, the downtrodden, the kids who find it hard to express because they've been silenced at home. I write in their vernacular. My content is my character.
Wow, that was absolutely amazing. I've been in the spoken word game for over 20 years. It's always great to see new voices coming through.
Yeah, man, showing us what the future holds for poetry on screen, off screen, in all the screens. They are showing us how it's done.
Exactly. There are no restrictions that can hold us back because poetry will always break through. If you tune in tomorrow for next round over on the Young Identities YouTube page, the link is below.
And join us back here on Wednesday. For more info, search Word First on social media and look at our website, which is www.applesandsnakes.org.
And until such a time, keep the words alive and poetry will thrive.
I've been Deanna Rodger.
I've been Mr. G.
Peace.